Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NFL Thoughts. Today we are doing our NFL Week 7 predictions. Last week we didn't really get to, remember, we didn't get to the Week 6 predictions review or the NFL Week 6 predictions or the NFL Week 6 predictions review. We didn't get to that. And we also didn't do our week five review. So we've been a little bit behind because last week we had other things to do. So, but guess what? I'm back, and it's time to get back into the swing of things today and do our NFL Week 7 predictions. Okay, guys, so long story short, last week we had our worst predictions outing of the year when we went 6-8. So we had a losing record in our predictions last week, so that's not good. I do want to point out that week 5 we did have another 10-6 record. So, however, last week definitely tarnished that. But this week, I feel like last week I was kind of overthinking it a little bit. So this time we're just gonna, make our predictions. We're not gonna really overthink like we did last time. So Saints Cardinals is tomorrow night. So the Saints have gone through the turmoil of not having Sean Payton, for the first time in a long, long time. First year without Drew Brees was not that much better, but not having Drew Brees or Sean Payton now, it has not been good for them. More importantly, their defense under Dennis Allen, which had always been one of their keyest of strengths, especially last year, has all of a sudden become one of the worst in the league. They're not very good at stopping the run. They're not even that good at stopping the pass either. Like, their pass rush is still okay, but now the secondary and the defenders just aren't holding it down. And then the Cardinals, well, they've gone through the turmoil of not having DeAndre Hopkins through the first 6 games. These are two teams who are 2-4 to start the season, and they are in deep need of a win to at least give them hope to turn this season around. So, at the end of the day, I look at it as, okay, one team has Kyler Murray and the other one doesn't. And again, they're getting DeAndre Hopkins back. Now, they lost Hollywood Brown, who's going to be hurt, but that's why they traded for Robbie Anderson. I will say, I think that this is a game that Kyler Murray springs off a little bit of that magic, and the Cardinals will win this game. So I have the Cardinals. Browns versus the Ravens. The funny thing about the Ravens is that they are a good football team. I had them 5th on my NFL top 5 teams heading into week 6, but I might have to change that. But the thing about them is that they could easily be 6-0 right now if it wasn't for those 3 losses where they blew double-digit leads. They blew a 21-point lead against the Dolphins. They blew a 17-point lead against the Bills. And then just on Sunday, they blew a 10-point lead to the Giants. Which, by the way, I just want to point out, I'll get to them. But, yeah, so I'm thinking, you know what, it's kind of a roller coaster with the Ravens. It seems like this is just going to be a thing that's going to be going on all season. They're going to win a game and then they're going to find a way to lose their next game after having a big lead. So I have them beating the Browns this week, but next week, the week after that, I have them having a big lead against Tom Brady and the Bucks, and they're going to blow that lead and lose the game. That's basically how it's going to go down. So yeah, Ravens win this one, and I think they'll win easily. Buccaneers versus the Panthers. Okay, Buccaneers, look, the biggest problem for the Buccaneers right now is Tom Brady. And he's got other things to do. He's got some other things to do. He's got some other things to worry about, such as his wife Giselle and their situation that they got going on. And he's also got the problem with the fact that his offensive line has been injured, and he really hasn't had a consistent offensive line all year. I look at it as people always, like Skip Bayless, always want to talk about how, Skip Bayless, Tom Brady always talking about how he's basically playing with, his hands tied behind his back. Well, we're not talking about a guy whose hands are tied behind his back. We're talking about a guy whose head is literally hung on a rope over molten lava. That's what we're talking about. So, yeah, this Bucs team, it's like, I think they're going to win the division. But, man, why did the Bucs have to make it this difficult? I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, it's like they found a way to lose to a 1-4 team last week, but that was Mike Tomlin. They're going up against a team with a coach who is only the coach because Matt Rule is just terrible, so they had to fire him. So you almost kind of look at it, you know what? There's no way there's no way the Buccaneers could possibly find a way to lose to a one-win team again. So I have Bucs winning this game. Falcons versus the Bengals. Okay. These are two teams who are absolutely going in completely different directions. The Falcons. Who would have thunk it that right now that they would be tied for first place in the NFC South with the Bucs? They shouldn't be tied with the Buccaneers for first place. They should actually have first place in the NFC South all alone. Had it not been for what happened in Week 5. We all remember what happened in Week 5. Nonetheless, Bengals, well, I don't know what they're doing, but it's definitely not the Bengals that we saw last year. But I think that they're slowly but surely starting to pick themselves up, and I think that they will win this week against the Falcons, especially at home. All right, come on, you got to protect your home turf. Lions versus Cowboys. Dak is back, and you think about that loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night, and to be quite honest with you, it had a whole lot to do with Cooper Rush and the Eagles having a great game plan to confuse Micah Parsons. Not everybody has that coaching philosophy and blueprint to use against Micah Parsons. And you know that slowly but surely Micah Parsons and Dan Quinn are going to figure that out and notice that, and they're going to counter it with something else. So I think Micah Parsons will be fine. I think the defense is surely fine. And the Cowboys' offense is just going to get better because they have an upgraded quarterback, obviously, coming back as Dak Prescott. So, yeah, the Cowboys win this game easily. And the Lions, well, they'll probably find a way to lose a heartbreaking close game. They'll probably find a way to lose a heartbreaker the next week. So at least Dan Campbell, they play with heart, but not this week. Giants versus the Jaguars. Okay, back to what I was trying to talk about earlier. The Giants may just very well be legit. They might just very well be legit, people. So, and the Jaguars, well, it looks like the Jaguars are going back to being the Jaguars. Like that 2 game stretch, week 2 and week 3, they looked like world beaters out there. But as you've seen since, it hasn't been the same. So Jaguars are going back to being the Jaguars, and well, the Giants are not going back to being the Giants. I think that this team might honestly be for real. And I'm totally not just saying this because I want it. I want our. I'm totally not just saying that because we've given them their only loss of the season, so I want us to have credit. But nonetheless, yeah, I have Giants winning this one. Packers versus the Commanders. Packers, come on now. Come on now. You lost to the Jets, but the Jets might be better than what we're giving them credit for. But that was still surprising, the way y'all went out there and laid an egg at home like that. So, yeah, come on, guys. There's no way you guys lose to the Washington Commanders away. There's no way that you somehow, some way, find a way to mess this up. There's no way. So Packers, and then Colts versus Titans. I've said this before. The Colts always just for some reason they don't like to play football in September, and then all of a sudden, like by mid-October, they've gotten to their form again, Frank Reich style form. So, and I'll be quite honest with you. Some people think that Derrick Henry is back. I don't think he's back. I think that, we're seeing a guy who is definitely hitting a wall in his NFL career. And I think the Colts will figure out how to bottle up, King Henry. And, Matt Ryan looked like the Matt Ryan of old last week. I know they played Jacksonville, but come on, you get a game like that at least a few times this year, and the Colts will be really good. And I think he might have a good chance of repeating that, performance effort this week against the Titans. So I have Colts winning this time. They lost last time, but I got them winning this time. Proceed. Texans versus the Raiders. Here's the thing. We all think that we know what the answer is to this, but because we think that the Raiders clearly have a better team than the Texans. But that's the problem, is that the Raiders do have a good football team on paper, but against some of the inferior opponents, for some reason they're finding a way to lose these games. I mean, even against the Chiefs, who are one of the best teams in the AFC, if not the NFL, they had a chance to win that game if they don't go for 2. If you just kick the extra point, you just got to stop Mahomes and get the ball back and try to kick a field goal and win the game. I still don't understand that. So, Yeah, and the thing is, the Texans have played very competitive in their games thus far this year. They got their first victory, obviously, the last time they played, which was against the Jaguars. And I have them winning this game, people. Believe it or not, I have the Texans beating the Raiders in Las Vegas. And what happens in Vegas, yeah, it stays in Vegas. So, Jets versus the Broncos. It is official. Russell Wilson needs to retire. But that's the problem. He just signed a 5-year, $245 million contract, obviously, right before the season. So, I mean, the Broncos can't get rid of this. At least not for right now. They got to deal with this futility for another 3 to 4 years. So until they finally can get their heads together or get their heads out of their you know what, and actually know how to find your franchise quarterback, I'll be quite honest with you. Like, I think that Drew Lock, as much as they gave a lot of criticism to Drew Lock, I don't know if he was given that great of a chance. I feel like they should have given him time to develop. They should have given him time to develop. I don't think that they gave him enough time. I feel like they thought, okay, this guy's a bust. We need to get rid of him. And yes, he's not the quarterback for the Seahawks right now. Geno Smith is, but I don't know, man. I just feel like they didn't give the guy a chance. And you know what? Even if you feel like it still wouldn't have worked out, then guess what? If you just tank for the rest of the season, you can just cut Russell Wilson and take a major cap hit, but at the same time, at least you don't got to deal with that for another 3 to 4 years. That's probably your best bet right now as far as being able to get rid of Russell Wilson, because this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible to perform like this. So the Jets are a better football team than they've been obviously for the past for the past few years. They're 4-2, their best start since 2015, and we all remember what happened back in 2015. That was back when the Broncos actually had a competent quarterback, but they also had a competent organization. Nonetheless, yeah, so I have the Jets winning this game. I have the Jets winning this. Chiefs versus the 49ers. The 49ers lost to the Falcons last week, and the Chiefs just lost a hard-fought victory to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. However, I'm actually picking against Patrick Mahomes. I know, crazy, right? I'm actually picking against Patrick Mahomes. I have the 49ers winning this game because the Chiefs' defense, more importantly their secondary, is still not 100% healthy. So I'm actually going to pick the 49ers in this game. The Chiefs are going to drop their second in a row, but I think they'll be okay because once they get healthy again, then they'll be able to turn this around. But for right now, I have them losing their second in a row. Surprise me, Patrick, because it's not the first time we've seen him do this, and surprise people. you know. So, but for right now, I have the Chiefs losing their second in a row. Seahawks versus the Chargers. I know we think that Justin Herbert is that guy, and Geno Smith shouldn't even show up for this game, but I got Geno Smith, people. I'll be quite honest with you. Like, Geno Smith is him. He is him. So, yeah, I actually have the Seahawks, and Geno Smith is going to outduel Justin Herbert in this game. Steelers versus the Dolphins. Tua's going to be back, and that means he's going to bring some explosiveness back to the offense for the Dolphins, ironically enough. And, Mike Tomlin, I'm sorry, but, bro, you're just going to have to deal with, starting off the season 2-5, the worst start of your coaching career. You're just going to have to deal with it. So, yeah, I have Dolphins over the Steelers. And then Bears versus the Patriots. This doesn't even need no further explanation. Patriots are winning this game. So, as we look at this, I have Cardinals over the Saints, Ravens over the Browns, Buccaneers over the Panthers, Bengals over the Falcons, Cowboys over the Lions, Giants over the Jaguars, Packers over the Commanders, Colts over the Titans, Texans over the Raiders, Jets over the Broncos, 49ers over the Chiefs, Seahawks over the Chargers, Dolphins over the Steelers, and Patriots over the Bears. I feel really, really, really confident that I'm going to have a clean sweep this year. I haven't had a clean sweep all year, obviously, and I don't think I've ever actually gotten a clean sweep ever as far as predictions, but I feel real confident that this is going to be a clean sweep. So, I will talk furthermore about that Cowboys-Lions game on Friday and Saturday. So, yeah, like, subscribe. This is NFL Thoughts. Out.